it's graduation season, right? All these colleges, you're seeing everybody graduate, and high schools are starting to do it. And somebody who had a special graduation in her family that she's celebrating, which I will get to on the back end of this first clip, is Sunny Hostin. We talked about The View and how dumb they are. Here's, just in case you forgot, Sunny Hostin's view of America.
I worry about my children's future, especially my daughter, who now has less rights than I have.
It's stolen land, first of all, okay? California is stolen land.
The biggest threat to our country today, says the FBI's director, is white supremacy and domestic.
Everyone's been whispering it for months, so let's just say it out loud. Megyn Kelly didn't clap back at Sunny Hostin. She performed a controlled demolition of the entire act. And yes, that's the word, act. Because if you've watched Hostin cycle through the same solemn faces and preloaded buzzwords, you already know the script. Here's the click confirmation you came for. Kelly watched Hostin paint America as an irredeemable dystopia and then held up a mirror, Harvard cap in the reflection and all. Immediate news on the...
Yo, Megyn Kelly's reaction to Sunny Hostin's stupidity in this video is everything. Check it out.
If America is not the #1 global power, it's not going to be Denmark. It's going to be communist China, a country that right now the government is imprisoning Uyghur Muslims in concentration camps. It is a deeply racist government. It's a human rights violating government. It is a government that if they are the leader of the free world, we are not a free world the way that we are.
Table. Sunny celebrated her son's graduation from one of the most elite institutions on earth, while insisting this country is a white supremacist gauntlet that swallows futures whole. That whiplash you felt? Not your neck, your common sense. Stakes? Huge. If Hostin's narrative is true, merit's a myth and opportunity is a costume. If Kelly's critique lands, I think she went to Binghamton undergrad, and she went to Notre Dame Law School, which is a great law school. Her son right now is at Harvard. That son she wants us to think is sitting there oppressed, who she's got to fight on behalf of because America is so awful to him. They're educating him right now at Harvard University. And Jason... Daytime TV morality play is selling fear as wisdom. Quick proof the tension is real. Hostin's feed beams Ivy League success at the same time her monologues forecast societal collapse. Roadmap for tonight. We're unpacking the Harvard flex versus doom prophecy. The China will fill the vacuum. Reality check. The courtroom, cosplay style of argument, the selective outrage scorecard, and the identity arithmetic that turns every discussion into a census. And yes, we're closing every loop we open. Stay with me. Here's the expectation versus reality hinge the internet can't stop replaying. Expectation.
Ladies of The View. Speaking of Sunny Hostin, take a look at SOT 15.
I worry about the working class. I worry about my mother, a retired teacher. I worry about our elderly and their Social Security and their Medicare. I worry about my children's future, especially my daughter, who now has less rights than I have. And I remember my father telling me many, many years ago that I was the first person in his family to enjoy full civil rights. And now I have less civil rights than I had.
If America is nothing but stolen land, domestic terror, and an ever-shrinking circle of rights, then the arc of a black son at Harvard should be impossible. Reality. There he is, robed, smiling, credentialed, proof that the door Hostin swears is welded shut is, at minimum, opening for people who work, plan, and persevere. That's not minimizing injustice. It's refusing to erase evidence of opportunity because outrage needs clean lines. And Kelly, who's taken enough media shrapnel to build a statue, doesn't need to yell to make the point. She just asks the question everyone else is biting back. If the system is as terminal as you say, why does your own family keep disproving your premise in high definition? Lean in, because here comes the second best point first. The daytime bubble is not a conspiracy theory, it's a stage direction. The applause sign blinks, the panel nods in rhythm, and pre-approved villains rotate like a lazy Susan. Hostin delivers a sermon. The audience delivers oxygen. But the real world doesn't clap on command. In that arena, arguments have to breathe on their own. Kelly's critique is basically a stress test. Remove the applause track and ask, does the claim stand? Watch the beats. America is structurally hostile to people like us.
Pause.
My son just soared through every elite gate we were told was sealed.
Pause.
He is still at risk. That last line tries to recover the preset mood, but you can feel the logic wobble. It's hard to sell permanent emergency when your own receipts look like the brochure for the American dream. Here's the strongest point second, because this is the one that cuts past theater to consequences. Kelly's argument about power vacuums is brutally simple. If America downsizes itself in the name of moral self-flagellation, the replacement won't be Denmark. It will be a regime that jails dissidents, corrals minorities in camps, and treats individual liberty like a nuisance. You don't have to canonize America to recognize a scale of lesser evils. Kelly's warning carries an uncomfortable edge precisely because it's not fashionable, it's geopolitical adulthood. And that's the tell. Hostin's monologues reward the feeling of righteousness in the moment. Kelly's caution forces you to think about the morning after. Short line break here, a pattern interrupt, because this is where most conversations tap out. The applause-pleasing version is easy. Declare America uniquely monstrous. Exhale, collect likes. The grown-up version is harder. Compare systems, measure freedoms, admit trade-offs. If the leader of the free world leads less, someone leads more. And their playbook doesn't include your rights, we'll come back to that. First, the courtroom cosplay. You've seen it. The chin tilt, the furrowed brow, as a former prosecutor, cadence that turns daytime commentary into a closing argument nobody asked for. The verdict arrives before the case is made. Dissent isn't just wrong, it's immoral. That's the move Kelly punctures, quietly, surgically. Hostin speaks like a judge whose robe came with a ring light. The cadence says authority, the content says assumption. Watch how fast I disagree becomes you're dangerous, how disagreement becomes pathology. It's effective TV. It's lousy thinking. And it's catnip for an audience primed to accept certainty over substance. Mini cliffhanger. We'll test this in a minute with her takes on Israel and domestic extremism. Keep a pin in it. Back to the resume contradiction because it matters. Hostin isn't merely a TV personality. She's a success story by any metric. Binghamton undergrad. Notre Dame law. Prosecutor. Author. A seat at television's most bankable table. A child at Harvard. In any other era, that bio is a love letter to possibility. In hers, it's wielded as Exhibit A in a case about oppression. Kelly doesn't dunk on the success. She interrogates the framing. If the edifice is rigged, how do you keep winning inside it? The honest answer would be nuanced. Yes, barriers exist. Yes, opportunity exists too. Yes, we fight for the former without lying about the latter. But nuance doesn't trend. Certainty does. So the nuance gets sanded off, and the performance kicks in. Cue the solemn piano. Cue the line about, my daughter has fewer rights than I did. Cue the ritual sigh. But watch the audience. Some of them are doing the math in real time. They can applaud and still think, wait, fewer rights than when? Let's crack open the selective outrage file, because this is where the pattern shows it seems. Hostin can turn up the flamethrower on enemies she's licensed to hate, but when a favored tribe fumbles, the temperature drops to lukewarm analysis. It's ref as activist. Call ticky-tack fouls on one team, swallow the whistle on the other, then sell it as balance. Kelly calls it out, and the crowd laughs because everybody sees it but the person in the robe. The Israel example is textbook. Complex war. Ugly moral math. Hostin reduces it to a clean headline. War crimes, full stop. Maybe it feels righteous.